Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry is struggling to stay in power as he tries to return home, where gang attacks have shuttered his country's main international airport and freed more than 4,000 inmates in recent days. Today is Saturday, March 9th, 2024, and this is the Dunkley Report. Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry is struggling to stay in power as he tries to return home, where gang attacks have shuttered his country's main international airport and freed more than 4,000 inmates in recent days. Henry remained in Puerto Rico as of midday Wednesday. He landed in the U.S. territory on Tuesday after he was barred from landing in neighboring Dominican Republic, where officials closed the airspace to flights to and from Haiti. Locked out of his country for now, Henry appears to face an impasse as a growing number of officials call for his resignation or nudge him toward it. Scores of foreigners are stranded in Haiti, unable to leave the country under siege by violent gangs that have shuttered its international airports, trapping citizens from the United States, Canada, and beyond. They were in Haiti for reasons ranging from adoptions to missionary and humanitarian work. Now, they are locked down in hotels and homes, unable to move by air, sea, or land. Haiti is paralyzed while gangs attack police stations, prisons, and other key government institutions, demanding that Prime Minister Ariel Henry resign. Richard Phillips, a 65-year-old aid worker from the Canadian capital, Ottawa, arrived on his latest trip to Haiti in late February. He said, "If the police force collapses, there's going to be anarchy in the streets." It's not just Israeli bombs that have killed children in war-ravaged Gaza. Now, some are dying of hunger too. Officials have for months warned over the risk of famine in Gaza under Israel's bombardment, offensives, and siege. Hunger is most acute in the north, where at least 20 people, almost all children, have died from malnutrition and dehydration. That's according to Gaza's health ministry. But also in the south, where access to aid is more regular, particularly vulnerable children are also beginning to succumb. At the Emirati hospital in Rafah, the director told the Associated Press that 16 premature babies have died of malnutrition-related causes over the past 5 weeks. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has offered to hold a peace summit between Russia and Ukraine. Erdogan made the offer Friday during a visit from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy to Istanbul. Turkey is a NATO member that has sought to balance its close relations with both Kyiv and Moscow. Erdogan said at a news conference following his meeting with Zelenskyy that he hoped Russia would be on board with Turkey's offer. Zelenskyy said in a statement at the start of the meeting that he was grateful for Turkey's support. He said he was interested in strengthening bilateral cooperation, protecting commercial vessels in the Black Sea, and having Ukraine work with Turkish defense companies. A ship bearing humanitarian aid is making preparations to leave Cyprus and head for Gaza after international donors launched a sea corridor to supply aid for the besieged territory facing widespread hunger after 5 months of war. A top European Union official told reporters in Cyprus on Friday that the vessel, belonging to Spain's Open Arms Aid Group, will make a pilot voyage to test the corridor in the coming days. Opening a sea corridor to Gaza shows increasing frustration with the humanitarian crisis in the Strip and a new international willingness to work around Israeli restrictions. Israel says it welcomes the maritime corridor, but cautioned it would also need security checks. The UN Security Council is urging Sudan's warring parties to halt hostilities during the Muslim holy month of Ramadan and allow desperately needed aid to reach 25 million people. Ramadan is expected to begin on or around Monday, depending on the sighting of the crescent moon. The 15-member council voted overwhelmingly in favor of the British-drafted resolution, with 14 countries in support and only Russia abstaining. Sudan plunged into chaos in April when long-simmering tensions between its military, led by General Abdel Fattah Burhan, and the Rapid Support Forces paramilitary, commanded by Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, broke out into street battles in the capital, Khartoum. Sudan's foreign ministry listed conditions Friday for a ceasefire to be effective. The RSF have not responded. Former President Donald Trump has met with Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, a conservative populist whose crackdowns in Hungary have sparked criticism that he's eroding that country's democracy. Trump and Orbán have a long-standing relationship, and their meeting Friday comes as Hungary has had conflicts with the Biden administration. Orbán is the third foreign populist leader to lend his support to the Trump movement, after El Salvador's Nayib Bukele and Argentina's Javier Milei spoke at a conservative pro-Trump conference outside Washington last month. The U.S. State Department declined to comment on Orbán's visit. Security forces are searching large forests in Nigeria's northwest region for nearly 300 children who were abducted from their school a day earlier. It is the second mass kidnapping in the country in less than a week, and analysts blame them on the failure of intelligence and a slow security response. No group has claimed responsibility for the attack, but locals blamed it on the bandits who carry out mass killings and abductions for huge ransoms in Nigeria's northwest and central regions. President Bola Tinubu said he would ensure all the students were freed. Analysts, however, feared a difficult rescue operation because of the vast forests in the remote area. Observant Muslims the world over will soon be united in a ritual of daily fasting from dawn to sunset as the Islamic holy month of Ramadan starts. For Muslims, it's a time of increased worship, charity, and good deeds. Socially, it often brings families and friends together in festive gatherings around meals to break their fast. This year, Ramadan comes as the Israel-Hamas war has left much of Gaza in ruins and created a worsening humanitarian catastrophe. Some Muslims have been brainstorming how to remain mindful of the Palestinians' plight during the holy month. France has inscribed the guaranteed right to abortion in its constitution, a powerful message of support for women's rights on International Women's Day. France is the first country to explicitly guarantee abortion rights in its national charter. The French Justice Minister used a 19th century printing press to seal the amendment in France's constitution at a special public ceremony Friday. The measure was overwhelmingly approved by French lawmakers earlier this week. The ceremony is a key event on a day focused on advancing women's rights globally. Marches, demonstrations, and conferences are being held the world over, from Asia to Latin America and elsewhere. Today's news has been reported by the Associated Press. This has been the World News for Saturday, March 9th, 2024. Thanks again for joining us at the Dunkley Report.